Thank you, Jack. Thanks. Now, how's it going, everyone? You'll have a nice day at work today? Yeah? Okay. So, you're all welcome here to our festival for the appearance day of Lord Nrsimha. Does everyone know who Lord Nrsimha is? Is anyone who doesn't know who Lord Nrsimha is, I should say? No, everyone knows, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't need to say anything, okay? Everyone knows everything.
We can hear it from you again.
I don't know anything. Okay. So I was asked to give this class on Lord Nrsimha, or the pastime of Lord Nrsimha and Prahlad Maharaj. So we're celebrating the incarnation of Krishna. He's there on the big picture behind everyone. The half man, half lion incarnation. So it's the fourth incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and he came. I can't tell you when he came, but he came for two reasons. One was for his devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, to save him from his father, the big demon, Hiranyakashipu. So, yeah, he came to kill Hiranyakashipu, the biggest demon going, and to save his son Prahlad, or to give him benedictions. So there's a big book named Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, which kind of deals with the whole pastime of Lord Nrsimha and Prahlad Maharaj. Don't worry, I'm not going to read the whole book. I'm just going to take little snippets from it and give a synopsis of the pastime. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranje Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayetu Dirayet. So, I made a few notes. Hopefully you can read them correctly. So, a long time ago, there were two great powerful personalities. One was named Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. They were both brothers. And Hiranyaksha, I think, was the younger brother. He was unfortunately killed by Lord Varahadev, the boar incarnation. They're just meddling in his affairs. And Hiranyakashipu, he didn't like this very much. So he swore that Vishnu would be his mortal enemy. And so he decided one day to do some austerities. It's very severe austerities. To get the blessings of Lord Brahma, so that one day he could be strong enough to kill Lord Vishnu. So does anyone know what these austerities he was doing? Any idea?
Standing on the one leg.
Standing on one leg, that's one thing, yeah. He stood on one leg, was it on his tippy toes? Can't remember. And with his arms straight up.
Yes.
Both his arms straight up. For many years. Many thousands of years. And eventually over time his body became eaten away by ants and insects and so many things, and all that was left was this skeleton. But he became so adept in yogic powers that he was able to keep his soul within the bones of his body. And part of that yogic power that he received, fire was emanating from his head. It was such a great fire that it was scorching the three worlds. And all the devatas, or the demigods, were getting very disturbed by this because the universe was heating up. You know, everybody was sweating a little. So he became a bit perturbed by Hiranyakashipu's austerities. That they all went to Lord Brahma, and he asked him to kind of go down there and have a little word with him. So Lord Brahma came to see Hiranyakashipu and offered him some boons. Now in the meantime, he had the ability to bring back his body to what it was, I suppose, even greater than what it was. So Brahma asked Hiranyakashipu what boon would he like, and Hiranyakashipu asked for a boon of more immortality. But Lord Brahma said he couldn't do that. He couldn't give something which he didn't have himself. As we know, Lord Brahma also only has a period of time as Lord Brahma. He eventually leaves this world, or this universe. So he couldn't offer him this boon. So Hiranyakashipu had to kind of, weasel his way into a sort of a situation where he had immortality. So he asked Lord Brahma to give him several boons. Basically more along the lines of not being killed by anyone. So does anyone know what these boons were? Anyone want to mention one? Yeah.
I know a few of them. Like he asked the son, nobody can kill him with any weapon, not in the night or in the day.
Yeah, there was one was in the night, not to be killed by day or night, or by any weapons.
Not even in 12 months, so Lord Nrsimha created 13th month to kill him.
Anyone else? Anyone want to say? Go on.
I've forgotten what I was going to say.
No worries, okay. So not to be killed by any human or animal in this universe. Yeah, inside, anywhere or outside. Not in the air, in the sea or on the land. By any creature in the three worlds. What else we say? Yeah, day or night.
Not with any weapon.
Not by any weapon. So basically he couldn't be killed by anyone or anything in this universe. So he thought himself immortal. And he was happy. So Brahma decided to grant him this boon for some peculiar reason. And so he went on a rampage, you might say. But while he was in meditation for those many thousands of years, his wife, who was pregnant with a son, and Indra and the other demigods, decided this is their chance to kind of kill the seed of Hiranyakashipu. So they went to try and kill the child and capture his wife. And so, but Narada, the great sage Narada, intervened, and he told the devatas that there's not a demon within the body of his wife, but a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. And so he decided to take charge of this lady. He took her under her care into his ashram, and during that time he basically spoke or narrated the Srimad Bhagavatam to Hiranyakashipu's wife and the child that was in the womb, Prahlad. And so afterwards, when Hiranyakashipu was finished getting his boon, or boons, he thought himself to be invincible. And so he started to terrorize the demigods and all the three worlds. He was basically taking over the universe. So he was. He went in and took over Indra's palace, and everyone was afraid of him. So he was, because he was basically invincible. He had the greatest power, he had so much wealth. He stopped all sacrifices to Vishnu and killed anyone basically who, was trying to offer Vishnu any sacrifices, or anyone who basically got in his way. He was basically just going to wipe them out. Nice guy. So Prahlad, his son, was born when he got back, and Prahlad was only a young boy, and he was sent off to school, to demon school, and he was to be taught how to become a great king and a powerful leader, much like his father. His father obviously wanted his son to emulate him in many different ways. And but Prahlad, being a great devotee, was more interested in Krishna consciousness and Krishna, thinking about Krishna and worshipping Krishna and speaking about Krishna. And he tried to convince his classmates, when the teachers weren't around, about Krishna consciousness, about the futility of this material world. And at first they weren't so much interested in what he had to say, but later he was able to convince them. So his father, Hiranyakashipu, he was very affectionate to his son, Prahlad. One day, took him up on his lap, as any father would, and just asked him nicely, what are you learning at school these days? And he thought that he'd tell him all the different things that he was learning about, what would it be, I suppose, how to be a great king and a great leader, a ruler, how to control. But Prahlad only wanted to talk about Krishna. And so he told him about what he had learned from his Gurudev, Narada. And Hiranyakashipu became very disturbed by this. And so he called over his teachers. And he asked them what was his son learning at school, but even they didn't understand what he had learned. And Hiranyakashipu told his teachers to only teach him about material life and about being a ruler and how to enjoy this material world. And they were trying to break this devotion that he had, this strong devotion that he had to Lord Vishnu. But they were unable to their disappointment, they were unable to break his devotion. And again, Hiranyakashipu, I don't know these pages now. Yeah. Hiranyakashipu again took his son aside, and with great affection he asked him, what are you learning these days at school? Have they been teaching you what I asked them to teach you? But Prahlad again told him about Krishna, about him being the supreme controller and his worshipable deity. And Hiranyakashipu again became very disturbed by this, because he saw Vishnu as his mortal enemy, and he noticed that his son was giving Vishnu more importance than his own father, and so he became very, very angry. And he thought to kill his own son, because he had more devotion to his mortal enemy than to his father. So I just want to read a couple of verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam about this. Just as uncontrolled senses are the enemies of all yogis engaged in advancing in spiritual life, this Prahlad, who appears to be a friend, is an enemy because I cannot control him. Therefore this enemy, whether eating, sitting or sleeping, must be killed by all means. The demons, the servants of Hiranyakashipu, thus began striking the tender parts of Prahlad Maharaj's body with their tridents. The demons all had fearful faces, sharp teeth, and reddish coppery beards and hair, and they appeared extremely threatening, making a tumultuous sound, shouting, "Chop him up! Pierce him!" They began striking Prahlad Maharaj, who sat silently meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deed, it will have no result. Thus, the weapons of the demons had no tangible effects upon Prahlad Maharaj because he was a devotee, undisturbed by material conditions and fully engaged in meditating upon and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchangeable, who cannot be realized by the material senses, and who is the soul of the entire universe. So, Hiranyakashipu didn't really like his son after this, and so he tried to kill him in many ways. First, he tried to pierce him with tridents, and then there was poison. He tried to boil him in oil, throw him off a cliff, put him under elephants, great big elephants, burn him, and there was like so many different ways that he tried to kill his son. But each time he tried to do this, Prahlad just meditated upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he was saved in all circumstances. So he was. He couldn't be harmed, he couldn't be killed, nothing could happen to him. There's a nice saying that if Krishna wants to save you, then no one is going to be able to harm you or hurt you or kill you. So this is kind of a testament to that Prahlad had such great faith and devotion to Krishna, to Vishnu, that Krishna saved him or protected him in all circumstances. I mean, has anyone got a father like Hiranyakashipu? No? No, can you imagine, someone, your own father wanting to kill you, and how would you feel, or not even your own father, but let's say somebody was trying to harm you or hurt you or disturb you in some way, or even trying to kill you? Would you have such faith and determination and devotion to Krishna that you would just kind of accept it as this is the will of the Lord? They were trying to harm him in so many different ways, but yet he was protected by Vishnu. So his faith and his devotion was far greater than his father's willingness to destroy him, to kill him. So Prahlad was not disturbed. He just fixed his mind on Vishnu and he wasn't harmed. And Hiranyakashipu, well, he was perplexed. He was bothered. He couldn't understand how his son could not be killed by so many means, and he was just so bothered by where the power was coming from. So he was. And he was so angry. He was so angry at his son. He had so much anger that. So I'll just read a couple of more verses. Being obsessed with anger, Hiranyakashipu, who was very great in bodily strength, thus chastised his exalted devotee, son Prahlad, with harsh words. Cursing him again and again, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword, got up from his royal throne, and with great anger struck his fist against the column. Then, from within the pillar, came a fearful sound, which appeared to crack the covering of the universe. Oh my dear Yudhishthir, this sound reached even the abodes of the demigods, like Lord Brahma, and when the demigods heard it, they thought, oh, now our planets are being destroyed. To prove that the statement of his servant, Prahlad Maharaj, was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, had he exhibited a wonderful form never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. While Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of the sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu wondered, what is this creature that is half man and half lion? As you can see from our wonderful pillar here, we've got some Hiranyakashipu claws coming out. Or Nrsimha claws coming out. Where's the... We need a Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, I know. I'm getting all tongue-tied here. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nrsimha standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold. His shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and his hairs and on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which assembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch-shell disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made this plan to kill me, but what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. So here's Hiranyakashipu, thinking himself the greatest and most powerful personality in the universe, and he wanted to take on Lord Vishnu. I was just thinking that about Hiranyakashipu. There's obviously many things you can learn from this story or past them, but one was about Hiranyakashipu. He was very much atheistic and very proud of himself, and he was more interested in the material aspect of this creation. He wanted to enjoy himself. He wanted to be the greatest. He wanted to be the most powerful. He took over the entire universe, so he did. But it made him sort of, even though he was himself actually a great devotee of Vishnu, he was one of the gatekeepers known as Jai and Vijay. In the body of Hiranyakashipu, he was the furthest, you could say, away from Vishnu. Vishnu. He wanted nothing to do with him. So I was just thinking that, we all like to enjoy this material world in different ways. And maybe we have a bit of Hiranyakashipu in ourselves, somewhere hidden away. I know I personally do. There's certain things that I like to enjoy or I like to do which probably aren't very Krishna conscious. I think Hiranyakashipu, the name Hiranyakashipu means gold and soft pillow, if I'm correct. So I think we all, well, maybe I'm speaking for myself here, have a liking for money and sleeping. I like to sleep and I like money. So when we kind of engage ourselves in sort of materialistic activities or thinking about things which aren't so much Krishna conscious, we put ourselves in a position that is kind of further away from Krishna. So we do. The more materialistic we are, like Hiranyakashipu and his brother Hiranyaksha, the further away we are from Krishna. And the more time we give ourselves, we give to, hearing about Krishna, reading about Krishna, chanting, and all these Krishna conscious activities, the further or the closer we get to Krishna. So it's just a thought I wanted to share, which is that, if we want to be more Krishna conscious, then we have to kind of engage ourselves in more Krishna conscious activities. So we do. Or the opposite of that, like Hiranyakashipu, is if we engage ourselves in more materialistic activities, whatever they may be, the further away we will be from Krishna. So it's up to us to decide what it is we want. Whether we want to be close to Krishna, or we want to be kind of somewhat near Krishna, or really, really far away from Krishna. And I suppose most people, maybe at this point, they're very, very materialistic, and so they keep themselves at such a distance from Krishna. So they do. I know I'm kind of meddling in the middle somewhere. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not reached so close yet, but it's a work in progress always. So just think, do I want to be more like Prahlad Maharaj, or do I want to be like Hiranyakashipu? And you just weigh it up and see what's going to be more beneficial for you in the long run. The material life will eventually end, and anything we've gained from, sort of materially speaking, we're going to lose anyway. Whereas anything Krishna conscious, any activity, stays with us eternally, so it does. So that's just a thought which we should have, or try to have. So, where was I? So yeah, Hiranyakashipu was fighting with Lord Nrsimha, and Lord Nrsimha kind of, wanting to please his devotee, he kind of just, was toying with him. Had mess fighting, you might say, having a little fight with him for a while. Because he had to wait, obviously, for the right moment to counteract all the boons which Brahma had given. So we had to counteract, being inside or outside, being in the air, on the sea, or on the land, using any weapon, any animal or human or living creature within the universe. So he waited until it was dusk. He took him on his lap in the doorway of used his own nails to rip up the body of Hiranyakashipu. And he took out all his guts and he kind of wore his intestines as a garment. Sounds delightful, huh? So after killing him,
Excuse me.
destroying Hiranyakashipu, he kind of sat down on the throne and he was, in a rage as any half man, half lion would be. And all the demigods and Prahlad Maharaj came over to offer their respects to the Lord. They'd never seen such a wonderful incarnation of the Lord before. And they all paid their obeisances. But it was Prahlad Maharaj who could appease him, It was his prayers that calmed down Lord Nrsimha. And I just wanted to maybe read one or two of these prayers to you, if I can find it now. Yeah, this is it. Oh my Lord, best of the givers of benediction, if you at all want to bestow a desirable benediction upon me, then I pray from your Lordship that within the core of my heart there be no material desires. O my Lord, because of lusty desires from the very beginning of one's birth, the functions of one's senses, mind, life, body, religion, patience, intelligence, shyness, opulence, strength, memory and truthfulness are vanquished. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. O my Lord, full of 6 opulences, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, killer of all miseries, O Supreme Person, in the form of a wonderful lion and man, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Prahlad, a devotee like you never desires any kind of material opulences, either in this life or in the next. Nonetheless, I order you to enjoy the opulence of the demons in this material world, acting as their king until the end of the duration of time occupied by Manu. So here we can say that the devotee Prahlad Maharaj, he had no material desires, unlike his father. He was completely devoid of material desires, and he wanted nothing from Lord Nrsimha, except that within the core of his heart there would be no material desires. So he was praying, he wasn't praying for anything, any opulence or material objects, but that there be no material desires within the core of his heart. He just wanted to have unflinching faith and devotion to Lord Vishnu. Okay, a few minutes left. But there was one interesting thing I was thinking about Prahlad Maharaj, and hopefully I can find the verse. Yeah, it was. Yeah, here we go. It was Prahlad Maharaj is a great devotee. He had great compassion for all living entities, and in particular for his father. Let's just read this verse out. Prahlad Maharaj said, O Supreme Lord, because you are so merciful to the fallen souls, I ask you for only one benediction. I know that my father, at the time of his death, had already been purified by your glance upon him. but because of his ignorance of your beautiful power and supremacy, he was unnecessarily angry at you, falsely thinking that you were the killer of his brother. Thus, he directly blasphemed your lordship, the spiritual master of all living beings, and committed heavily sinful activities directed against me, your devotee. I wish that he be excused for these sinful activities. Now, has anyone ever had anything, you might say, someone say anything bad about them, or do anything wrong to them, or do any terrible deed to them, or have anyone try to kill them lately? Nobody? No. I was just thinking that, when bad things happen to us, or someone may say something not so nice about us, or might do something wrong to us, we get disturbed by that. So we do. I know when someone says something bad about me, I usually, my mind starts to go, my ego gets really big. I try to defend myself. Or if someone was trying to harm me, I'd try to protect myself. And I wouldn't feel very, very nice about that person in here. I'd be cursing them, or I'd be, I'd feel very much, tension here in my heart, towards the person, or people, or whoever, or even when we see things happen in the world, where I don't feel so nice about it, so we don't. But here's Prahlad Maharaj, whose own father, the great Hiranyakashipu, was trying to kill him. So he was. I don't think I've ever had that experience of someone trying to kill me, but I know if someone was, I'd be very fearful. I'd be very disturbed, and I'd probably try to defend myself and try maybe even destroy them instead. But here was Prahlad Maharaj. He was accepting everything, and he was just focused on Lord Vishnu. So he was. And he didn't try to defend himself. He didn't try to do anything to his father. He just had great compassion for his father. So he did. The boon that he asked for was that his father be excused, because he understood what his father was in, sort of contaminated by the material world. And so he didn't have any bad feelings. He didn't have, he wasn't even disturbed by what his father had done. He understood. I suppose what we all can happen to us all, that we can all be influenced by the material world around us. So we can very easily. And without even realizing it, we can become very angry towards somebody, or we can become sometimes very violent, or very hurtful or hateful, or all these negative things can have a great effect on us. And without realizing it, we can have a negative negative thought about the material world and other people, and we may not have very much compassion ourselves for people. Whether we know them, whether they've done anything to us or not, or just people out in the street. I don't know. Sometimes I get disturbed by people who are in a deep mode of ignorance. They're drunkards, or they're on drugs, or they may be very in a very unfortunate situation that they have to live on the street, or in a terrible condition of life. You might tend to avoid them, you know, especially when they're asking you for money or anything like that. You kind of say, no, don't even look, just keep walking, just keep walking. So we don't, I notice myself, sometimes don't have very much compassion for certain members of society. Certainly for people who might, you know, try to harm me in some way or say something terrible about me. So I got this interesting, I'll finish up soon. I got this interesting what would you call it, exercise from a devotee the other day, and it was from actually an exercise that they were doing, and they wanted to share it with all other devotees that they know. And it's called a compassion exercise. So it's something you can kind of take with you. So the objective is to increase the amount of compassion in the world. It would be great if everyone had a lot of compassion for people. The world would be a nicer place. And the expected result is to increase in understanding and compassion for your fellow man and a personal sense of peace. It comes with a warning. It says, frequent use of this exercise will cause a permanent and blessed shift in your perspective, a suspension of judgment for yourself and other human beings. Excuse me. This exercise can be done anywhere that people congregate, airports, events, beaches. It should be done on strangers, unobtrusively, and from some distance. Try to do all 5 steps on the same person. And then you can, you know, do it with people that you may know as well, if there's any conflict with anyone that you know. So the steps go. Number 1, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for his or her life. Number 2, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. So we're all trying to get happiness. So we are. We're all seeking happiness. And we're trying to avoid suffering. Do you like suffering? Anyone like suffering here? At least he's honest. 3, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Anyone in that category? Yeah. Number 4, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking to fill his or her needs. And number 5, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is learning about life. So I thought that was very interesting. So it was an interesting exercise which you can hopefully take home with us. And anytime you're feeling a bit, how would you call it? You might say an unhealthy relationship, or maybe some conflict with somebody, or you just don't feel very nice about a particular person. You might kind of meditate on these 5 steps and see if it helps you to have more compassion. Like Prahlad Maharaj, who had the greatest compassion for all living entities, not just human beings, but all the living entities, whether they be demons or animals or human beings. And anyone who does want this and wants to try it out and see if it works, I'll no problem photocopying it for them, or writing it down or whatever. So, okay, it's 8 o'clock now. So I'd like to finish up there. I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope it was very nice and you learned something today from my class. If anyone has anything to add or ask, I'll give a couple of minutes for that.
Prabhu, can you repeat the 5 things you said?
Repeat them?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Now, open up your ears there, right? Okay. I thought it was very nice, actually, this. Because you're kind of directing it inwards, not just externally towards the person, but you got to also meditate about yourself a little. So, step 1 is, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for his or her life. Number 2, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. With your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness and despair. With your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking to fill his or her needs. And number 5, with your attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is learning about life. So, you can, like I said, you can use it on, do this exercise with people you don't know or even people you do know, and see if it is helpful to you in your life. And maybe we can take a step closer to Krishna. I think that's the last one. So, Prabhu.
I was just wondering, did the lad still love his father? Even though the father was cruel?
Well, he still loves his father. Well, I said, I was reading in the book earlier on that he had no attachment to family life or even his father or to material world. So I suppose since he had a lot of compassion for all living entities, he'd want to have some love for his father. If he couldn't have love for him, he couldn't really have much compassion for his father. So I would say yes. I'd say he must have had, because he was a pure devotee at the end of the day, and that great compassion that he had for his father, coupled with that, he'd have love for him, because he wasn't seeing the body, he wasn't seeing Hiranyakashipu, he was seeing the soul. So he was. So all great devotees have love for the soul, isn't it? Rather than the body. So yeah, I would say it does. He would still have love for his father. They want to save him. Anyone else?
So how do you balance not being materialistic and being in Krishna consciousness? Because everything around us is more or less materialistic. Being from our family, being from the job we do, be anything we're doing, it's more or less materialistic. So how does one go away from everything and get into the Krishna consciousness? Like, do we have to leave it, or how is it?
No, of course not. You can't. Obviously, you have to work. You have to look after yourself, look after your family. You know, even extended family who might not necessarily be doing any Krishna conscious activities. These things are there. Well, the majority of what you do in your life could be geared towards Krishna consciousness, or at least dovetail, that they say, dovetail. So let's say you work, I don't know what your job is. You've got to go out and you've got to do your job, and you've got to earn money and your livelihood, that's also there. But the money that you earn, obviously you're going to use it to pay your bills, pay your taxes, get food, pay your rent, whatever. That's okay, that's no problem. But you're also going to have a certain section of money, and you've got to decide how you're going to use that. Some extra money, let's say. Might be, not be very much, but you can use it for sense gratification. You can use it to enjoy your life in some small way. Or you can use it for Krishna conscious activities. That's one way. You can also spend some of your day, at least, in Krishna conscious activities like chanting, reading, coming to the temple to do services. You can listen to classes online. Your spare time outside of work hours you can give to Krishna conscious activities. You can also, within work, a good meditation might be that, okay, I'm not just working to just earn money, but I'm working so that I can look after my family, who are also devotees of Krishna. That is the purpose of my work. So you have to kind of think about it differently. Every activity that you do, you have to think about it differently. Why am I doing this? And am I doing it for not just my benefit, but the benefit of other people, or let's say devotees who are also practicing Krishna consciousness? So it's about what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it now. But basically, the reason why you're doing something, you might think about it more, and that way you can kind of dovetail it with the Krishna consciousness. You know? Does that make sense? Okay. We don't want to go too far, but I'm sure everybody's starving. They've all been fasting all day till dusk, yeah? I know I have. I'm starving. So, next part of our program, we will do Aarti for a few minutes, and any others would like to sing. Go, if you'd like to lead us again in our kirtan. We'll do Aarti, and it'd be very nice if somebody could play drum as well, get the kirtan rocking, and then we'll serve prashadam after that, hopefully around 8:30. So thank you everyone for listening. Much appreciated you all coming here today and listening to me talk about Lord Shrimad. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So.